It's unfortunate that we haven't managed to knock out the bugs yet in the SD data logger on the magnetometer station. I mean, we're really close. I mean, what I've done is, as you can see, I've built the master now. It's all in its box ready to go. You're actually looking at the back of the box where the SD card is and the serial lead which connects to the computer, and there's also a mains power lead should we need it, and there'll also be battery backup inside the master. So this receives all the magnetometer data from the 3 transponders on the back of there, or transceivers. The magnetometers are in the tubes, and the data gets sent through serial lead, which we've got plugged into the master at the moment, through to the computer. And as you can see, we're getting mag 1, mag 2 and mag 3. It comes in different intervals, but that won't make any difference, because when we knock the bugs out of the SD card logger, what will happen is it will just receive one packet and it will be date timed, stamped, and when it comes to putting this into some form of processing so we can have a look at the data on a graph, it will log it according to the time. So even though sometimes we get 2 mag 2 readings, when it's timed stamped, the processing will put that in an order which is more logical. So there we are. I mean, we're so close. Really wanted to get this finished before Christmas, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen, because I'm waiting on a couple more data loggers so I can send one to a friend down in Kent, and he's going to have a look at see if he can fix the problem on the programming for us with regards to just getting the data onto the SD card, which is in the back here. It's really frustrating, because I managed to sort out the program myself, getting the data from the transceivers. I got the data converted from the magnetometers in each of those tubes into a form where we could then send it wirelessly to the master. And yet I've struggled so much, which I really thought would be the easy part. I thought it would be just a case of getting a shield, dropping it onto the development board, and then sorting it out in the processing, but that's not been the case. It's really funny how some things can catch you out, but that's where we are. I've been on this project now 4 months, 5 months. It's been a struggle all the way through, but I know it'll be worth it when we start getting the results. We can start tracking the strength of the magnetic field and also the exact position, and very accurately. There's not another system like this. No one's using 3 magnetometers for accuracy with regards to following the heading of the North Pole at the moment. So it's a real unique experiment, and it's been made possible for you guys, or some of you guys at least, that have supported the project, the build, and some of the time that's gone into it. And believe me, if I was building this for someone, I really wouldn't know how to charge them for it, because of the hours that it's consumed in actual trying to debug the program. It's been a real learning curve, but I'm glad in a way that I've stuck at it. That's the main thing. I had a ambition to build something that I wouldn't have to look at every day and worry about whether things were affecting it, such as compasses, because the slightest magnetic influence on them, as you know, can trigger odd readings, to say the least. But that's the progress on that anyhow. It's real funny times we're in, and I can't help but feel a little bit funny, with all what's going on with regards to Syria, and we're going to talk about these things on the desk in a minute. But I mean, you must be thinking about some of the things yourselves, especially if you watch other videos on YouTube. It's real strange times we're in. You know, the money market, or you know, the economy, the global economy is in a real bad state, and you know, I'm pretty sure that you're thinking as much as I am, where does this all go? And you know, we're just hoping that it doesn't end up like the 1920s. However, it is starting to look like that. I don't know whether you follow the dry bulk index of, you know, shipping with regards to that. It's at 501 points, is it? Massively lower than what it was. I think at its peak it was at 9,590 something, and now it's only at 500. That's incredible. Really unprecedented times that we're in at the moment with regards to that. You know, with what's going on in Syria, I'm pretty sure most of you that are clued up and switched on and connected to what's going on will know it's all about energy and pipelines and oil, basically. Tell you what comes to mind is what Kissinger said. You know, you control a nation's oil, and you know, if you want to control nations and if you want to control people, you just control the food. Well, you know, this is the game that these rich elite are at. I'm afraid there's a battle between OPEC and, you know, Gazprom going on, and we're all stuck in the middle of it. You know, I'm not going to go on about that. I really feel that the way forward is to come up with an alternative means of you know, energy, and that's why I got a few of these things out here. You know, we've got the old H2O generator there. You've seen some of these in other videos, the V-gate motor. None of these things, by the way, are successful, and you know, it doesn't matter that they're not successful. It's that, you know, we have tried these methods and we move on. Most of them have a problem with magnetic gating, and just to give you a quick idea, if you're not understanding with what magnetic gating is if I bring some magnets there, that little twitching that you just saw is really what stops all these magnetic motors working. It's that where it comes in between the north and the south pole and sets up, you know, that gate effect, and that's really why all these things fail to work. But you know, we keep trying. You know, we try different things, different methods of trying to get them, you know, around the problem. And as you can see, I've had my fair share of attempts at those things. But the point is, despite the failure in all these mechanisms, you know, we can't stop trying. I'm pretty sure there is, if not a way of producing electricity at almost zero cost, there are other ways in which we can skin the cat, so to speak. And what I mean by that is like the idea I had with the Peltier elements. You know, just utilising that heat that's lost in a combustion engine through the manifold. You know, putting those Peltier elements on the manifold so that they get hot, using the vehicle cooling system to cool the other side of the plate down, so that we can exploit the thermal electricity effect that the Peltier element gives, and perhaps put that Peltier element then connected up to some form of electrolysis or a H2O generator, where we produce hydrogen and oxygen, and then tap that back into the inlet manifold of a combustion engine. And perhaps, you know, it's just those little bits of help that, you know, will probably one day lead to an ultimately highly efficient engine, or, you know, even, you know, that we might even find other ways of it. But, you know, if we can't do it one way, you know, I think we should do it the other way. One other thing that I've built, I know it looks a little bit like, you know, a Jules Verne experiment, but this is what I was talking to you about with regards to putting this object in a vacuum. If I can pop into a university at some point and borrow their vacuum chamber, we'll do this. The only difference is we won't be using the power supply like I am here. You can see obviously what it is. We've got you know, a power supply, 4 volts, you know, 132 milliamps, running the motor at the moment. If I slow the motor down just by dropping the milliamps, you'll see that the last lights to go out are the red ones, and if I speed it up, you see that the yellow ones come on, then the green. It's just an indication of the power that the generator motor, which is this one, is putting out. What am I trying to do with this, and why do I want to put it in a vacuum? Well, I'm trying to find out a little bit more about the nature in which the electricity is fed into you know, generators. And by putting it in a vacuum, what I'm hoping is that the free ions in the ambient air, because we've talked about this before, haven't we, where we have ambient air, ambient amounts of electricity, it's just a matter of tapping it. Well, an ordinary generator, you know, which is a motor that's turned, produces electricity, as you can see. There is no electricity connected to this motor. It's actually generating its own electricity, because if you turn a DC motor, that's what it does, it becomes a generator. We're using this DC motor to power the generator motor, and in turn run the LED lights at the back. So if we put this in a vacuum, draw the air out, and these lights don't come on, we know that the only source of free ions is in the surrounding air. And you know, we can learn a lot from that. It'll also tell us some more about the electrical connection between our sun and our earth. So, you know, I want to find out whether these lights actually come on when this little experiment is subject to a vacuum or not. If they don't come on, then we know that the generator sucks out the electrons or the ions in the air from the ambient air. If there's no ambient air in the vacuum, then there's no way that that generator can produce the lights. It might seem a little bit confusing to some people out there, but what I'm talking about is not where electricity comes from with regards to coils and rotating magnets or vice versa. I'm actually concerned about where the electricity enters the generator and then flows through the wires into the LEDs to produce the lights that you're looking at. There's a big difference, because if we can learn about the flow of ambient ions into alternators and generators, we might learn a little bit more of its secrets, and that's really what I'm trying to do with this motor. So you know, at some point in 2016, this should be put in a vacuum in a university, if we can get them to let us use it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this pulse width module on there and a 9-volt battery, so the whole thing will be insulated in the experiment. So, you know, we can't say then that, you know, the electrons could be coming through the dielectric core in the inside. As we increase the vacuum, they could be sucked through this little wire. Well, it's just to eliminate that, so the whole system will be in the vacuum. I mean, we could try, you know, both ways to see whether there's any variables in that experiment anyhow. So guys, you know, we're very close to Christmas. It's probably unlikely that I'll be doing another video this side of the new year. But, you know, it's just really to let you know, I think we've done well on the channel, you know, to get things as far as what we have with regards to the magnetometer station. You know, if you're like me, you really want to know where the magnetic pole is, how fast it's tracking, how close it's getting to the 40-degree mark, what will be the effects of that with regards to, you know, the climate and everything else. Well, you know, it's through you know, experimental equipment like this that we get a better insight, and that's why we're doing it. There's a link down below, guys. You know, I don't think we've had any financial support for at least 3 weeks on the channel. It does get a little bit disheartening, especially when we're coming up to Christmas, and you know, I suppose, you know, money's tight for me. I suppose it is for everyone at the moment, but you know, it keeps the channel going, it keeps us able to buy the equipment that we need, and it is for a good cause. as well. So you know, if you want to continue supporting the channel, the link's down there, guys. And I think the only other thing to say is, you know, you guys out there have a great Christmas, and I'll see you in the new year. And with that, you know, I suppose I'll just say what I usually do, and that is, you take care, enjoy yourselves, and bye for now.